Now, she talks a lot of shit on the court. All right. Believe me. When people talk about in WNBA, why are these people beating up Caitlin Clark? Because she talks a lot of shit on the court.
UConn head coach is clear. They beat up on Caitlin Clark because she talks a lot of sh*t on court. Clark has consistently been targeted by WNBA opponents. The 2024 WNBA season saw the emergence of Caitlin Clark, a rookie whose dynamic presence set a new benchmark for excellence. As the first overall draft pick, she quickly made her mark, delivering standout performances, including 4 20-plus point games and a 30-point showcase within her first 9 appearances. While her offensive prowess grabbed headlines, her intense on-court demeanor marked by bold trash-talking has also become a subject of heated discussion, drawing reactions from fans, players, and even prominent coaches. One such figure, legendary UConn head coach Gino Arima, recently shared his perspective on Clark's fiery personality during a discussion with Phil Martelli on the Make a Difference podcast. Arima acknowledged how Clark's verbal sparring adds a competitive edge to her game, but also invites a physical response from opponents. When people talk about in the WNBA, why are these people beating up Caitlin Clark? It's because she talks a lot of sh*t on the court, Arima explained. That's what makes her good. So she's not like this angel walking out there, and everybody else is beating her up. Arima likened Clark to UConn star Paige Buchers, emphasizing that their trash-talking reflects toughness and passion for the game. He added, "No, she's got a lot to say. She's a lot like Paige. Those guys have a lot to say. They just do it subtly, and they're tough. We need more of that, and we need more great games, better games, and some rules modifications." Trash talk as a double-edged sword. Clark's ability to dominate a game isn't limited to her shooting range or playmaking skills. Her fiery passion often manifests in ways that engage fans and rile opponents. Whether it's sinking a deep three-pointer or rallying the crowd, Clark's enthusiasm is undeniable. However, this intensity sometimes results in on-court clashes. For instance, earlier this season, Chicago Sky's Chundy Carter shoulder-checked Clark during a game against the Indiana Fever, resulting in a flagrant foul. While the altercation hinted at verbal exchanges between the two, it underscored the attention Clark's antics draw. Las Vegas Aces coach Becky Hammon has also commented on Clark's bold personality, humorously noting, "No one talks more crap than Caitlin too," while observing that today's players are more direct in their trash talk compared to previous generations. Redefining competitiveness in women's basketball. Clark's fiery approach to the game has reignited conversations about trash talking in women's sports. Fellow player Angel Reese has been vocal about how such behavior is often accepted in men's sports and should be normalized in women's leagues as well. Reese argues that trash talking fosters rivalries and attracts more fans, contributing to the sport's growth. Caitlin Clark, with her bold personality and unparalleled talent, epitomizes the competitive spirit of modern women's basketball. Whether she's sinking long-range shots, engaging in animated exchanges, or drawing fans into the excitement, Clark is doing her part to elevate the WNBA's profile. Love her or hate her, one thing is certain. Caitlin Clark is here to stay, and she's changing the game in more ways than one. Let's roll the footage what UConn head coach Gino Arima say about Caitlin Clark, and where dose the women's game to next, and how to helping player to build their brands.
And all of a sudden, everything changed. There were a lot of good players before that, but after that, it changed. And it changed more when, Magic and Bird came out of high school and played in college. And it changed again when Jordan came out. And then the NBA did the exact same thing. There were a lot of great NBA players. But I tell people, they don't believe me. I said, listen, when I was growing up in Philly and the Sixers were playing the Celtics in the playoffs to see who was going to the finals, the game was on tape delay the next day. All right, so you couldn't even watch the game live. All right, so there were a lot of great players, and no one saw them play. But after Bird and Magic and then Jordan, the game took off. The women's game now is exactly the same way. There were so many great players that people have never seen. And people bitch and moan about, well, why didn't they pay more attention back then? Because they didn't. Like, it's a very simple answer, because they didn't, and now they do. So, the point is, where are we going next? And if we think that, one kid, one Caitlin Clark is going to be enough to take this where it needs to go, it's not. Or one Paige Beckers, it's not. What they do is they show you the way. They show you what's possible. And then the people that run the operation have to now capitalize on it. And then the younger generation, the high school people, have to prepare these kids so that when they get to college, we have something good to work with. And then we send them up to the WNBA, and then they have something good to work with. And it just keeps growing and growing and growing. So it still comes back to those of us that are in charge of the game. Are we making the game better every day? Are we making our players better every day? And are we preparing them, and in so many more ways than just scoring points? I think one of the things that makes Caitlin Clark, who she is the way she is with people. She connects with people, and people connect with her. Now, she talks a lot of shit on the court. All right. Believe me. When people talk about in WNBA, why are these people beating up Caitlin Clark? Because she talks a lot of shit on the court. All right. That's what makes her good. So she's not like this, angel walking around there and everybody else is beating her up. Nah, she's got a lot to say. She's a lot like Paige. Those guys have a lot to say. They just do it subtly, and they're tough. And so, we need more of that. And we need more. We need more great games. We need more better games. We need more rules modifications. So just like the college game, it's funny that you asked that, Phil, because one thing that I think is happening, the women's game is outpacing the men's game in college. And I'm not saying that the game is better or it's played at a higher level. I just think it's more popular. It's going to become more popular. And the reason for that is those guys stay for 3 or 4 years. And, fans fall in love with these kids.
Couldn't agree with you. Couldn't agree with you more. And then so you have young players and you recruit the best players and the best people and that kind of thing. How much time are you spending now getting them to understand their branding? Like, it's branding for them, it's branding for your program, but it's also branding for the game. That to me was what grabs me about Paige and Caitlin Clark in particular. They are working their brands, but they're also branding the game as being more personable, being like, that kid's walking the hallways at some high school in the middle of Oklahoma. How do you help your players with their branding?
Educating the players in what actually constitutes a brand that you can monetize, that you can grow. So, for instance, when Paige got here from high school, I said, you're like Paige Kardashian, man. Like, I don't understand you. Like, what makes you so famous? Like, what have you done? Like, you got a bunch of videos of you playing in high school in Hopkins, Minnesota. So what? Like, that makes you famous? And everybody wants your autograph and everybody wants your picture and you got all these followers? Well, 2 years after being at UConn, she tripled her number of followers. Because why? Because she became National Player of the Year. She was the best player in college basketball. So now she had a reason. Before there was, well, we think this kid could be different. Well, then she proves she's different. So what I try to educate our players is, you want to grow your brand, you need to be different. I don't mean you need to be different by doing dumb stuff. I'm saying you need to be the kind of player that people go, wow, I've not seen that. Or that kid plays really hard, or that kid's competitive, right? Or that kid really is a great, whatever. And then you start to build a brand. But how good is your brand if your team loses? So you're trying to educate them, and your brand is going to be really, really big if you play in a program that wins, because now you're labeled a winner. So your brand has winning attached to it. Otherwise, you're just a person with a brand, and people don't just think, yeah, well, how come every team you play on loses? So there's a lot that goes into this, and I think that with all these kids having agents now, and all these kids having so many opportunities that come to them, I admire Paige a lot because she's kept. We talk about this a lot. She's kept the main thing. She works so hard on her game, even now. Every day. People don't see it. The kid works so hard on her game that she knows this is what my love is. This is my passion. My brand is what's come out of this. This has created the brand, not the brand is bigger than my game. My game is way bigger than my brand. And that's kind of what I admire most about her.
If you made it this far and are enjoying the video, don't forget to subscribe, and turn on all notifications. We know watching this video takes some of your time, and we appreciate you.